Chapter 1. The Weight of Keys. The keys frosted over in Alex's hands, two teeth of authority that never fit together until tonight. Simon Finch, chief archivist and Alex's mentor, slid his key into the left slot. High Steward Avery Kane, charismatic and unreadable, inserted their key on the right. The heavy steel hatch of the forbidden archive hissed, vapor bleeding from the seals as the pressure equalized. Junior Historian Thorne, Avery said, their voice a smooth balm, steps a fine line. Curiosity is the engine of our guild, but the charter reminds us, an open page can be a tearing wind. This privilege, Alex, is a burden. Do not treat it lightly. I understand, High Steward, Alex said. Their voice was steady, but their pulse hammered against their ribs. The hatch swung open. The air that hit them wasn't just cold, it was dead. It was the chill of metal that hadn't felt the warmth of a human hand in generations, the smell of ozone from dormant servers, and the faint, papery decay of physical backups. Condensation beaded on the bulkhead, an echo of the ship's living breath trying to force its way into this tomb. Simon nodded, his face etched with a familiar, weary caution. 2 hours. Log your cross-references. Do not deviate. He and Avery remained outside. The hatch sealed with a heavy, final thud. Alex was alone in the cradle of history. This was the Peregrine seed bank, its black box. Alex's small team spent their days curating the open archive, the meticulously edited history of the ship, the hagiographies of the early guilds, the liturgical phrasing of the charter. But this was the source. Alex ran a hand along the central server rack. It was cold enough to numb their fingers. Their task, their official task, was to cross-reference first-generation AlgaVat output logs. A tedious, safe assignment. But that wasn't why they'd fought for this. They moved past the server racks to the wall of physical plaques, the earliest codifications of the ship's rules. There was Charter Plaque 1, Segment 4. It is the sacred duty of the steward to protect the whole, to guard the mission from the part, and to ensure the silence of the void is never broken. Alex frowned. They knew this passage by heart from the public assemblies. But it was wrong. The version etched on every community hall plaque read, and to ensure the harmony of the decks is never broken. Silence of the void. It was a small change, a poetic substitution, but it shifted the entire meaning. Harmony was an internal goal. The void was an external one. Alex's breath fogged in the chilled air. They looked at the condensation beating on the plaque's bronze frame, truth coalescing from vapor. Avery was right. Privilege was a burden, and this one had just become much, much heavier. Interleave, Charter Epigraph, Archivist Edition, First Generation. DOC, C001.4 on the duties of record. The archivist shall serve not the present, but the future. The record must be absolute, for it is the only anchor against the drift of centuries. Let the steward manage the people. The archivist must manage the truth. The steward may offer comfort. The archivist must offer fact. These duties will conflict. The record must prevail. Chapter 2. Maintenance Air. The archive was cold and silent. Maintenance was hot, loud, and smelled of ozone, sweat, and machine oil. Alex felt their stiff archivist tunic, woven from processed algae fibers, already sticking to their back. They were 4 decks down from the spine, where the rotation press gravity felt heavier, thicker. They were not supposed to be here. Cross-guild transit was a bureaucratic nightmare by design, a key part of Avery's benevolent containment. But the bootlog anomaly Alex had found pointed to a power relay junction box that hadn't been on an official map since the 1st century. You're not just lost, you're catastrophically lost. Alex jumped, fumbling the datapad. A young woman leaned against a massive, humming bearing, wiping grease from her hands onto an already black rag. She wore the sleeveless jumpsuit of a maintenance tech, her arms corded with muscle. She looked about Alex's age, but her eyes were older, filed sharp by distrust. I was looking for Junction 41B, Alex said, feeling foolish. It's a legacy node. The woman laughed, a harsh bark that was swallowed by the turbine growl. A legacy node. That's what you call it. Up deck, you call this heritage. Down here, we call it the thing that'll kill you if you touch it wrong. Your Archivist Guild. It wasn't a question. Here to document our quaint, primitive rituals. No, I'm Alex Thorne. I'm tracking a data anomaly. Maya Diaz, the woman said, not offering a hand. And anomalies are our specialty. Usually, they mean a scrubber stuck in a recycler, or a steward decided to optimize a pressure valve without asking us. She pointed with her chin. 41B is behind that panel. But the panel's sealed. Been sealed for a century. What's in it for me if I open it? In it for you? Yeah, for me. For my guild. You want access, you trade. That's how it works down here. Maya's gaze was intense. I hear archivists get extra protein rations. And real fruit. Alex was taken aback. I can get you my supplement for a week. And an apple. Maya's expression didn't soften, but she nodded. A week. And 2 apples. Stay here. She disappeared into a forest of pipes, returning with a heavy-looking sonic driver. She aimed it at the seam. You're lucky. My cousin's on the ration board. You archivists. You don't even know what you have, do you? The panel popped, revealing a dark, dusty space. There's your node, archivist. Maya crossed her arms. Don't break anything. We got enough problems. Interleave. Maintenance log, shift 44, cycle 210.14. Log, M, 44-2, 10.14. Unit, bearing assembly, deck 7, ring blue tech. M, Diaz issue. Acoustic variance detected. Charter mandated harmonics, 22.4 Hz. Current, 22.9 Hz. Action, tell the sensors to shove it. The bearing's fine. It's been fine for 500 years. If the stewards want 22.4 Hz, they can come down here and sing to it. Official action, applied 4 tons of standard lubricant. Harmonics now acceptable. Redacted by STW Harris. Note, Diaz, this log is for technical review, not a comedy routine. This is your second citation for informational waste. Avery Kane. Chapter 3. Founder's Smile. The junction box gave Alex what they needed, an isolated, unmonitored access point to the archive's core. Maya had watched, unimpressed, as Alex jacked in their datapad. Just don't blow the circuit, she'd warned. It shares a line with the Deck 8 algae vats. Maya doesn't like it when her nutrient paste comes out lumpy. Now, back in the archive vault during their next sanction shift, Alex navigated to the hidden index. The boot log anomaly from 41B wasn't just a glitch. It was a watermark, a digital breadcrumb. It linked to a small, quarantine partition labeled Project Peregrine, Orientation Materials, Founder Cut. Alex's blood felt like ice water. They weren't supposed to be here. This was not cross-referencing algae logs. They clicked the file. A face flickered to life on their datapad. An old man, impossibly wealthy, from an Earth Alex only knew through sterile, sepia-toned histories. The founder. He wasn't in a sterile lab or a government office. He was on a beach. Blue sky. White sand. Lapping water. If you were seeing this, the founder said, his voice crackling with 5 centuries of digital decay, then you are where you were supposed to be. And you are who you were supposed to be. His smile was thin, academic. They will tell you Earth was dying. They will tell you that you are the last, best hope of humanity. A seed, flung into the darkness, to save our species from the fire. This is a very useful, very stable narrative. It is also incomplete. Alex stopped breathing. We are not launching the Peregrine to flee a disaster, the founder said, leaning into the camera. The blue sky behind him was painfully bright. We are launching it to learn. You are not an ark, my dear descendants. You are a laboratory, a closed system, a test of human resilience, resourcefulness, and, yes, faith. Your voyage is the experiment. And we will be watching. We will all be watching. Godspeed, and good luck. The video ended. Alex stared at the blank screen, seeing only their own reflection. A lab. An experiment. Not to flee. The entire foundation of their world, the sacred mission, the justification for the rigid guilds, the hardship, the recycled air, it was all built on a lie. A lie the founder had smiled at. Interleave. System boot log, Deck 7, Junction 41B. Syslog, D7.41B.001, timestamped 001.00.00.04. System boot sequence initiated. Life support, active. Rotation, active, 0.4G. Main drive, active, burn 1. Data uplink, Earth active, syncing. Running CharterOS version 1.0. Loading GIL manifests, loading mission parameters, public, Loading watermark. F&R IDX underscore Rozo. All systems nominal. The Peregrine is away. Chapter 4. Unity Week Looms. The announcement came, as all major announcements did, on the overhead tannoys, in Avery's measured, paternalistic tone. Friends, neighbors, citizens of the Peregrine, we approach the 500 cycle of our great mission. To honor this, the Steward Council is declaring a period of reflection and rededication. Unity Week. Alex, walking the spine corridor, felt a chill that had nothing to do with the ventilation. During this time, Avery's voice continued. We will conduct ship-wide efficiency adjustments. We will examine our workflows, our resource allocations, and our guild placements to ensure we are as strong and unified as the founders intended. Waste is heresy. Inefficiency is a crack in the hull. We will seal these cracks. Together. Alex found Maya in the maintenance mess hall, shoving a gray protein bar in her mouth. She was furious. Efficiency adjustments. Maya spat, crumbs flying. You know what that means? They're splitting my team. My cousin Jory, reassigned to atmosphere scrubbing. My aunt. They say her team's redundant, so they're moving her to the outer agrarian decks. Splitting families. That's how they seal the cracks. They break us up so we can't talk, can't organize, can't even eat together. She grabbed Alex's tunic. This is because of you, isn't it? You, and your updeck digging. You stirred the pot, and now we're getting scalded. No, Maya, it's not me. Alex insisted, pulling back. It's bigger. Avery's afraid of something. They're tightening their grip. They're always tightening their grip, Maya said, her anger collapsing into a weary dread. And it's always our necks they wring. Shaken, Alex went to the only person they could. They found Simon in his small office, reviewing logs. The founder's video, Alex said, their voice low. The one where he says we're an experiment. You've seen it, haven't you? Simon Finch didn't look up from his screen. His face was granite. Your 2 hours are for algae logs, junior historian. Nothing more. Unity Week, Alex pressed. Avery is splitting families. They're using this as an excuse to. High Steward Kane is ensuring the stability of this ship, Simon said, his voice dangerously quiet. He finally looked up, his eyes old and sad. The Peregrine is a 40-kilometer miracle of engineering, balanced on the head of a pin. It has survived 500 years because of stability, because of the charter, because people believe in the mission. Even if the mission is a lie. Especially then, Simon hissed. The archive preserves, Alex. It does not provoke. Stop digging. Stop. Before you puncture a bulkhead, we cannot seal. Interleave. Navigator's memo, confidential. Memo. NAVL. Kane to STWA. Kane 8. Cycle 500.08. CBJ. Re. Long-range drift anomalies. Avery, you asked me to rerun the 500-year navigational plot. I did. The numbers don't lie. We are not where we are supposed to be. The drift isn't random. It's corrected. The ship's automated guidance has been making micro burns we didn't authorize, against star charts we don't have. Worse, the Peregrine appears to be loitering. We've been running in a slow, 50 light-year holding pattern for the last 3 centuries. We are not going to Proxima. We are waiting. I am classifying this data per your instruction. But I must ask, waiting for what? Lena. Chapter 5. Gatehand. The navigator's memo, which Alex had found linked in Avery's private logs, a breach Alex justified as necessary, changed everything. Waiting for what? The founder's watermark index. The drift memo. The lies. Alex's mind raced, connecting patterns. They needed Maya. They found her on a lower deck gantry, overlooking a primary comms array. They're waiting, Alex said, breathless, showing Maya the memo on their datapad. The ship isn't just flying, it's loitering. And Avery knows. Maya looked at the memo, then at Alex. So what? We're still in the can. Loitering, flying, what's the difference? The difference, Alex said, pulling up the watermark index, is this. They pointed to a file they hadn't understood before. It was cross-referenced with both the founder's video and the comms array Maya was currently servicing. The file was labeled Gatehand Protocol V1. Gatehand. Maya scoffed. Sounds like one of the founder's myths. I think it's a comms protocol, Alex said. But the encryption it's not like anything else on the ship. It's too complex. I thought you could. Maya sighed, snatched the datapad, and plugged her own diagnostic tool into its port. Her fingers flew, lines of code scrolling past. It's a handshake, she muttered, her initial boredom turning into a sharp, focused curiosity, a call and response. But the frequencies, it's not narrowband. This is massive bandwidth. And it's FDL. She looked up at Alex, her face pale. That's impossible. FDL doesn't exist. The charter says we are the silent seed. Alex finished. But the founder's video said Earth was watching. What if this is how? It's a receiver, Maya said, her voice dropping to a whisper as she traced the code. A dormant FDL handshake protocol, built in from the beginning. This ship was never alone. She pointed to a line of code. It's not just a receiver. It's an acknowledgement. It's designed to handshake with a specific incoming signal, and then unlock a new antenna mode. Gatehand, Alex said. It's not a myth. It's a rendezvous. Interleave, erased header log, recovered from Gatehand under protocol, .v1. Log, 050.14.02.09. Header, deleted. Recovered, Earth Oversight Com. Signal in, ping. Oversight, beacon 04. Status, Peregrine response, automated ACK. Status, nominal. Experiment, continuous. Charter, stable. Ping next, 051.00.00.00. Note, this log entry is the last in a series of 50 annual automated exchanges. All subsequent logs are empty. Manual suppression protocol enacted at 050.14.02.10 by SDW Council. Chapter 6. The Midship Library. The Gatehand protocol was designed to receive, but it also pointed to a location inside the ship. A failsafe. A decentralized physical backup, should the main archive core be compromised. It wasn't in the archive, and it wasn't in maintenance. It was in the Midship, Deck 5, in a forgotten, climate-controlled vault labeled Midship Library. It took Alex and Maya half a shift to get there, moving through maintenance access-only conduits to avoid the increased steward patrols for Unity Week. The library wasn't for people. It was for data. Thousands of physical hard drives, data crystals, and, impossibly, actual printed books in vacuum-sealed bags. Why print it? Maya wondered, running her hand over a sealed tome. Waste of resources. Because paper doesn't have a delete key, Alex said. They weren't looking for books. Alex, guided by the Gatehand index, moved to a specific shelf. It held a series of metal-bound binders. First-generation charter. Alex breathed. Drafts. Revisions. They opened the first binder. It was a printout on that strange, plastic-like archival paper. The text was familiar, but different. More technical. Less religious. And then Alex found it. Article 4, Section 2. All guild functions, Alex read aloud, shall be subject to periodic oversight and external audit by Earth Oversight Command upon receipt of the Gatehand signal to ensure mission integrity and crew well-being. Alex stared at the page. Maya looked over their shoulder. External audit, Maya whispered. They were supposed to be checked on. This clause isn't in our charter, Alex said, their mind reeling. It's gone. Completely. They looked closer. In the margin, next to the stricken-out clause, was a handwritten note. Alex recognized the script from other, later documents. It was the handwriting of the second High Steward, the one who took over after the voluntary sealings of the first generation. Stability over truth, the note read. We must be our own gods now. Interleave. Edited charter page, scan. Doc. See draft .004.2. Article 4. Governance and mission integrity. 2. All guild functions shall be subject to periodic oversight and external audit by Earth Oversight Command upon receipt of the Gatehand signal to ensure mission integrity and crew well-being. Marginalia. Handwritten. Circa cycle 051. This reliance is a sickness. The pings have stopped. We are alone. To tell them this is to invite chaos. To tell them we waited for an answer, and none came, it would break them. They must believe the mission is whole, and that we are its sole protectors. Stability over truth. We must be our own gods now. High Steward Orin. Clause 2 stricken, replaced with, all guild functions shall be subject to the sole oversight of the Steward Council, who shall act as proxy for the Founder's will. Chapter 7. Simon's Choice. Alex confronted Simon in the open archive, slamming the datapad with the scanned draft onto his desk. The few other archivists in the room looked up, startled, then quickly looked away. This was not done. They weren't voluntary sealings, were they? Alex's voice was low, trembling with a cold fury. The first generation, the ones who disagreed, the ones who wanted to keep the audit clause. The council suppressed them. Simon Finch looked at the scan. He didn't seem surprised, only impossibly tired. He aged a decade before Alex's eyes. "You're a historian, Alex," he said, his voice a rasp. "Think. Cycle 050. The pings from Earth stop. The last one was an automated ACK. Then silence. For a year. Then 10. Then 50. So they did stop?" Alex asked. "Yes. Earth went dark. War, collapse, FTL failure. We will never know." High Steward Oren was left with a ship full of people expecting an audit that was never coming. A ship built on a premise. Earth is watching. That was now a lie. "What would you have done?" "I would have told the truth. And had riots." Simon shot back, his voice rising. "Mutinies? Guilds turning on each other, fighting for control of a ship they now believed was a forgotten, failed experiment?" Oren did what he thought was necessary. He weaponized history, yes. He created a myth. He turned the charter into a scripture, the mission into a religion. And it worked. It held us together for 450 years, Alex. "It's a lie," Alex said, tears welling. "We're living a lie." "It's a story," Simon said, softening. "A story that protected US. Avery. Avery believes in that story more than anyone. They will not let you break it. Unity Week isn't just a ritual. It's a purge. They're sealing the cracks you're making." Alex stared at him. "You're letting them?" Simon closed his eyes. "I, too, am a product of the story. I fear the collapse. I chose stability." He opened a drawer and slid a small, cold data string across the desk. It was old, heavy, and non-standard. "I didn't know about the founders' videos," Simon said. "I didn't know we were an experiment. I only knew Earth went silent. But Oren's edits, they created a failsafe. If the truth was ever needed. That string is a physical key. It bypasses Avery's authority. It unlocks the founder's final address. The real one." He looked at Alex, his eyes pleading. "Don't use it. Not unless you are certain you have a better story to tell." Interleave. Founder memo on managed turbulence. Memo. Founder, private, SUBJ, on managed turbulence. The system must be pressurized. A society without external pressure relaxes, atrophies, fails. The lie of a dying Earth provides the initial compression. The rigid guilds provide the internal structure. But what if the structure is too good? What if they achieve perfect, stable harmony? That is also failure. True resilience is born of chaos managed. Therefore, we must leave breadcrumbs. We must leave the tools for a curious mind to dismantle the very stability we so carefully engineered. The experiment is not can they survive. The experiment is can they awaken? Chapter 8. First ping. It happened not with a sound, but with a feeling. A deep, subsonic thrum that vibrated up through the decks, through the soles of Alex's boots, into their teeth. It was not the familiar, rhythmic hum of the ship's rotation. This was alien. Then the alarms blared. Not the localized fire or breach alarms, but the ship-wide, rarely heard, external event siren. Alex was in the spine corridor, heading for the lower decks. People froze, grabbing bulkheads as the Peregrine itself seemed to shudder. In the massive spine viewport, the distant, painted-on stars were wrong. One of them was moving. A crisp, synthetic voice. Not Avery's. Not any recorded ship voice. Blasted from every tannoy, overriding all other sound. Peregrine-class generation ship. "This is Earth Courier, Audax." The ship vibrated as the main comms array, dormant for centuries, reconfigured itself, locking onto the signal. The Gatehand protocol activated. "Cease unplanned maneuvers. We have detected your navigational deviation. Status review is scheduled. ETA 1919 shipboard days. Acknowledge." Panic. It was instantaneous. People screamed. A grower dropped his basket, scattering precious, dirt-grown potatoes. A scrubber fainted. Stewards, trained for internal threats, looked at the viewport in naked terror. Then, just as quickly, Avery's voice cut through, full of rage and iron certainty. "Silence. Maintain cohesion. We are under attack. This is not Earth. This is a lie, propagated by saboteurs among us who wish to break our mission. Maintain your guilds. Trust the charter. Stewards, secure your sectors." The message was clear. Avery wasn't just ignoring the Audax. They were declaring war on the truth itself. Interleave. Audax automated handshake text. Signal. FTLAUTHTXT from ECODAX. H. Cole, Envoy, 2. GCS Peregrine, Recipient. STW Council. SUBJ. Automated pre-arrival handshake. Status review. Hello, Peregrine. This is an automated message to confirm your Gatehand protocol is active. We are registering significant signal suppression and internal comms chatter. Please note, as per Founder Directive 101 today, all internal social religious doctrines, e.g., the Charter, are considered experimental variables and are superseded by Earth Oversight Authority upon first contact. We'll look forward to meeting you. Please prepare all historical, sociological, and resource logs for transfer upon our arrival. Non-compliance will be noted in the final graduation report. See you in 19 days. Chapter 9. Crackdown. Avery used the panic they had named. Saboteurs was the only word on anyone's lips, and the stewards, now armed with stun batons and heavy armor, were the only solution. Unity Week had become a crackdown. Alex and Maya were in the maintenance warrens when the raid came. It wasn't a search, it was an invasion. Stewards, led by Avery's grim-faced second, smashed down doors, dragging techs from their bunks. It's the lists, Maya hissed, pulling Alex into a cramped thermal conduit. The efficiency adjustment lists. They're not reassigning us. They're arresting us. Anyone who ever questioned anything. They could hear shouts and the snap hiss of the batons. Maya's aunt screamed her name. Maya froze, ready to turn back. Alex grabbed her arm. You can't. Not now. We're the only ones who can stop this. My family. They'll be safer if we expose Avery. Now, come on. They scrambled into the conduit, a dark, zero-G shaft that ran parallel to the main spine. It was the set piece Alex had dreaded. They crawled, pulling themselves along by hot, insulated pipes, the air thick with the coppery smell of condensation. Far below, they saw the armored stewards fanning out, sealing the hatches. They're locking down the ship. Alex panted, their muscles burning. They're going to fight them, Maya said, her voice hollow. Avery, they're going to try and fight a starship from Earth. They're not fighting Earth, Alex said, realizing the terrible truth. They're fighting us. They need the ship sealed, silent, and unified before the Audax arrives. They're trying to clean their experiment before the scientists get here. They emerged into a small access hub, grease-streaked and trembling. Simon was wrong, Alex said, holding up the data string he'd given them. This isn't a choice anymore. So what's the plan, Archivist? Maya said, pulling a plasma cutter from a nearby emergency kit. The assembly hall is on deck 1. They'll have stewards on every hatch. We're not going through the hatches, Alex said, looking at the main display controls. Avery's Unity Week assembly is today. They want the entire ship to watch. We're going to give them a show. Interleave. Steward arrest order. Priority. Order. SDWA.Kane. Targets. List attached for 112 names. Code. Unity. Sabotage/information hygiene violation. Action. Detain and secure. Use non-lethal force to ensure compliance. All targets to be held in Deck 9, Agrarian. Holding until status review is complete. Priority targets. Diaz, MAYA, Maintenance, Guild Agitator. Thorn, Alex, Archivist, Information Contaminant. Finch, Simon, Archivist, Complicity. Note, we are the hull. The truth is the void. Do your duty. Avery. Chapter 10, Assembly. The Grand Assembly Hall in the central spine was packed. Every guild, in their designated color-coded sections, sat under the vast, artificial sky of the display ceiling. Avery stood on the central platform, a figure of absolute calm. There are those, they were saying, their voice resonating with authority, who would use this external event to sow chaos, to tell you that your lives, your parents' lives, your entire history is a lie. In a control booth 2 decks above, Maya jammed the plasma cutter against the junction box lock. They're good. I'll give them that. They're really good. They believe it, Alex said, jacking Simon's data string into the port Maya had exposed. They're the high priest. They can't not believe. I'm in, Maya said. You have 30 seconds before they trace the override. That's all I need. Alex's fingers flew, initiating the bypass. Now, on the assembly platform, Avery continued. They offer you a truth that will tear us apart. I offer you unity. I offer you the charter. I offer. Their voice was cut off. The giant display above them, the one showing a peaceful, rotating Peregrine, flickered. It was replaced by the founder's smiling face. On a beach. We are not launching the Peregrine to flee a disaster. The founder's voice boomed. We are launching it to learn. You are not an ark, my dear descendants. You are a laboratory. The crowd gasped. A collective, ship-wide intake of breath. Avery, their face white with rage, shouted, "Cut the feed. Cut the feed now." But the display only changed. It showed the original charter draft, the external audit clause circled in red. It showed the navigator's memo about the 300-year holding pattern. It showed the 50 years of automated ACK pings to Earth. The display split, showing dozens of video feeds at once. The open book of the archive, its pages turning for all to see. Sabotage. Avery roared. And then, a new light filled the hall. Not from the displays. From the main viewport. A sleek, silver, impossibly clean shuttle was detaching from the Audax in high orbit. It was descending. It arrowed straight for the assembly hall's external docking port, a port no one had ever seen used. With a pneumatic hiss that shuddered the entire deck, the Audax shuttle docked, live, in front of the entire stunned population. The hatch opened. A woman in a crisp black and silver uniform stepped out, holding a datapad. She looked at the rioting displays, at the stunned Avery, and at the thousands of shocked faces. She smiled, a bright, unsettlingly cheerful expression. "Hello, Peregrine," said Envoy Hanacole. "My goodness. Looks like we got here, just in time for graduation." Interleave. Founder's final address from Simon's Key. Video. F_final point 001. The founder. Older. He's in a medical bed. His voice is a whisper. If you're seeing this, then it worked. The curious mind. The little rat in the maze. You found a real button. The experiment wasn't for us. It was for you. I built a cage and told you it was an ark. Because cages are stable. Arks are just wood. But the point of a cage is to see if the bird remembers it has wings. The point of the experiment is for the subject to realize it's an experiment. Now, the real test begins. Do you collapse? Do you obey the new voice? Or do you build? Don't let them grade you. Don't let them absorb you. You are not them. You are something new. 500 years in the dark. Show them what grows in the dark. Video ends. Chapter 11. The Offer. Envoy Hanacole did not wait for an invitation. She walked onto the platform, her boots clicking with an authority Avery's had never possessed. Envoy Hanacole, Earth Oversight, she said, her voice carrying easily. First, let's all take a breath. We're not here to punish. We're here to grade. And congratulations. A 500-year, stable-state society with 99.8% resource recycling? That's an A+. Avery, seeing a new authority, tried to seize it. Envoy, as High Steward, I welcome. Henna held up a hand, not unkindly. High Steward Kane, your benevolent containment model has been noted. It's a bit archaic, but effective. Now, Earth has, well, we've had our own stumbles. But we're back. We're thriving. We have FTL. We have cures. We are ready to offer the Peregrine full integration into the broader civilization. We'll upgrade your systems, disband the quaint guild structure, and offer citizenship and transport to any of our 800 worlds. It was an offer of paradise, an end to the struggle. Maya, who had made her way to the platform, grabbed a live microphone. Integration? You mean absorption? You lied to us. You left us in this can for 500 years, and now you want to grade us like a pet dish. The crowd, which had been silent, roared in agreement. We didn't lie, Henna said, her smile tightening. We observed, and the experiment is over. No. The voice was quiet, but the mic picked it up. Alex Thorne stepped forward, Simon's data string in their hand. The experiment, Alex said, is over because we ended it. Not you. Alex turned to the crowd, to Maya, to a broken-looking Avery, and finally to Hannah. You're right, Envoy. We're not you. We're something new. We've spent 500 years learning how to live together in a 40-kilometer tin can. We're not perfect, but we're not an experiment. We are a people. Alex looked at the display, which still showed the founder's face. We don't accept your A+. We don't accept integration. And we don't accept Avery's charter. Alex held up the data string. We propose a third path. We open the archives. All of them. We vote on a new charter. And we offer you Earth Partnership, not absorption. You can learn from us, just as we can learn from you. But we decide our own future. Envoy Hannah Cole's smile finally faded. She looked at Alex, really looked at them, and then at the determined, angry, hopeful faces in the crowd. Partnership, she said, tapping her datapad. That's a novel outcome. It's not in my manual. Interleave. Draft of a new charter preamble. Doc. Peregrine new .001 draft. Preamble. We are not the seed. We are the tree. We are not an ark. We are the destination. Our history was a cage. We now know the cage was an experiment. The experiment is over. We build our future on 2 pillars: the absolute transparency of the open book and the unshakable strength of the sealed hull. The archive shall be open. The ship shall be whole. We are the people of the Peregrine. We fly on our own terms. Chapter 12. Hatches. The aftermath was not a celebration. It was an audit, in the truest sense of the word. It was a painful, necessary lancing. A joint commission was formed. Hannah Cole, pragmatic to the end, recognized a paradigm shift when she saw one. Avery Kane, stripped of their title but not their expertise, signed the Provisional Transparency Accords, their handshaking. They were a person who had lost their religion. Simon Finch stepped down as chief archivist, handing his physical key, the real one, to Alex. The archive must serve the present now, he said, not just the future. The guilds did not dissolve. Instead, they fractured and reformed. Maintenance, led by Maya, formed the first cross-guild council, demanding, and getting, a say in resource allocation and shipboard governance. Some, terrified of the truth, petitioned Hannah to leave, and a small splinter group departed aboard the Audax shuttle. But most stayed. 19 days after it began, Alex and Maya walked the central spine, now open to all decks. The air felt different, sharper. The constant, low-level hum of the ship had changed. Data, raw and unfiltered, was flowing in a two-way stream between the Peregrine and the Audax, now tethered to their hull like a silver parasite or a partner. It's loud, Maya said, gesturing to the tannoys, which were broadcasting the first open constitutional debate. It's messy, Alex replied. They looked out the main viewport at the vast, silver hull of the Earth ship. They offered us FTL. The plans. All of it. And you said no, Maya said, a small smile playing on her lips. Not yet. We're not ready, Alex said. We've barely learned to walk in our own hallways. We need to figure out who we are first. We're the people of the Peregrine, Maya said. Alex looked at her, at the ally who had become their anchor. They looked at the open hatches, the mixing of guild colors in the corridor, the arguments, the life. The truth hadn't caused a collapse. It had forced a reconfiguration. Yeah, Alex said, a bead of condensation tracing a new path down the cold viewport. We are.